Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Random Talks with Ira. Here we're just gonna sit down and talk about everything that's been living rent free in my head. Internet drama, pop culture, and real life stuff. So I want to talk about Sydney Sweeney, and let me make this clear. I don't get on this podcast, research, get ready, and spend another week editing my rambling to drag any woman down. That's not something I'm willing to put my energy into, but I have thoughts on this matter, as usual. I feel like Sydney Sweeney is an interesting topic because of how much you can unpack talking about her and her brand. So, is she a racist or maybe a male pleaser, another pretty face, a stereotype, or a mirror to today's problems? Is she objectified or using objectification as a cash grab? How long does the pretty privilege go? How is substance relatable to the Sydney Sweeney case? Let's start one by one. Wanna know how I perceive Sydney? Well, she isn't giving me girl energy. I mean, she may be, I just don't feel it. But what she does give is a business girl with the hardest grab for success. Remember Cassie Hart falling for Nate? Well, in my mind, that's how Sydney Sweeney feels about her career. I'll explain in a second. She was born on September 12, 1997, so she's 27 years old, and she has a birthday soon, so I guess congratulations. Sydney is the daughter of Lisa Sweeney, a former criminal defense lawyer, and Stephen Sweeney, who worked in hospitality and transportation. Based on what I saw researching her, there were some financial issues and instability during her teen years. At 12 years old, Sydney saw an opportunity when a low-budget indie zombie horror film called ZMD, Zombies of Mass Destruction, was casting extras in her hometown. She really wanted to audition, but her parents were hesitant. So she prepared a 5-year business plan via PowerPoint to pursue them to let her try acting professionally. Later, she convinced her parents to relocate for her acting jobs, firstly Seattle and Portland, and later Los Angeles. Her early gigs included TV guest spots in shows like Heroes and Criminal Minds. When she was 16, her parents had to sell their home in Washington, and the family lived in a single room in Holiday Inn for 8.5 months. A few years later, her parents filed for bankruptcy. I guess she felt a lot of pressure because she was the one who asked her parents to move, and they seemed to struggle with that. Despite these challenges, Sydney did manage to climb where she wanted, and she used her career success to improve her family's circumstances, paying off her mother's mortgage, for instance. By now, she has quite a strong list in her career, and yes, I watched most of this for the video, so I am a bit sick of Sydney Sweeney at this point, I'm gonna present her career year by year because the girl is working really hard. So 2009, ZMD, Zombies of Mass Destruction as Lisa, Criminal Minds episode Outfoxed as Danny Forrester, Heroes episode Historical Blindness as Little Girl, 90-10 episode What's Past as Prologue as Girl, 2011 The Bling Ring TV movie as Easy Fishman, Kicking It episode Kung Fu Cop as Kelsey Vargas, The Middle episode The Prom as Female Student, 2013 Spiders 3D as Emily, 2015 The Martial Arts Kid as Natalie, The Wrong Daughter as Samantha, 2017 The Horde as Hailey Summers, Pretty Liars 3 episodes as Willa, 2018 Everything Sucks 10 episode as Emmeline Adario, Sharp Objects 8 episode as Alice, The Handmaid's Tale as Eden Spencer, Under the Silver Lake as Shooting Star number 2, 2019 Along Came the Devil 2 as Jordan, Big Time Adolescence as Holly, Clementine as Lana, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as Snake, also Euphoria as Cassie Howard, 2020 Nocturne as Juliet, 2021 White Lotus 1 season as Olivia, 2023 Reality as Reality Winner, 2024 Anyone But You as Bia, and she was the producer, Immaculate as Cecilia, also producer, 2025 Barbarella remake is in development and she's going to be Barbarella, Ika Wally as Claire, and Eden not yet released. So as you can see, she's working and she's acting and she's quite good at her current job, so what's wrong with her? She's fallen into the pretty blonde stereotype and she does like to play clueless, hot, blonde for the public, But was it always the case? Is she playing or being played? I'll get into the recent mess, but I can't deny that often people sexualize Sydney and accuse her of being too much, too vulgar, too trying when she is just existing. I mean, is it fair to say that the girl is trying to seduce anyone based on her looks? Let's talk about ads with Sydney Sweeney, because that's when the controversy starts. So I scrolled like 2 years of her Instagram. She doesn't have that much promotion, by the way, and she's quite consistent with her partnerships. For example, she has, I think, a contract with Laneige. She promoted Kerastase, Jimmy Choo, Drink Bay, Galaxy, and Hey Dude. By the way, sorry, but God, the shoes are ugly. Recently, she shifted to more male-oriented advertising. We have the Dr. Squatch campaign, reportedly paid millions, generating around $40,000 in sales. The ad went viral, and about 1 million fans entered the giveaway for a limited edition soap. Over 800 media placements and 11.9 billion impressions across digital, print, radio, and TV platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube contributed another 125 million social impressions. So I want to ask you a little question. Have you seen Sydney Sweeney and Laneige campaign? Or maybe Sydney Sweeney and Kerastase? Well, I guess no, but I am pretty much sure that you've heard about the body wash ad as well as great jeans. I don't know how much we can blame Sydney Sweeney for the fact that sex sells. We are, as users, the ones who are deciding what's going viral. So to me, it looks just like Cassie obsessed with Nate, Sydney obsessed with numbers, money, and mentions, as well as with that rush when her ideas are gaining virality. But are these the ideas or her looks? The American Eagle campaign made things even more viral and kind of worse, starting with objectification, referencing a similar Calvin Klein campaign with an underaged model, and well, the blue jeans. It's creepy when white, blonde, blue-eyed person is talking about their great jeans. I do think it was rage bait. Idea was more into sexualization and body standards, and the racist tone was kind of unintentional. I mean, I'm pretty much sure. But it is there, and it is strange, especially with the new Americana vibes. The campaign went viral, giving Sydney a new wave of popularity. But my question again is, among who? Is that the audience that she wants to have long term? Or there is no such thing as bad PR? But that's where I see the substance relevance. The movie tells the story of a woman who solely relied on her looks. Her career centered around her looks, and that's what gave her success and inner value. We don't see investment in friendships, hobbies, business as a system, or family. She had one support system, her show, with her looks. We have a similar real-life example with Marilyn Monroe. I don't know why I keep mentioning her, but she is iconic, kind of. Iconic and tragic, no doubt. Her team played too much into the stereotype of the pretty blonde and couldn't get out. But is it doomed? No, I feel like in our time it's not. I hope that Sydney has more control. I think she has things to say and care for, and we will see this in her career. I mean, she's only 27. We can see so much more from her. Also, I hope PR teams understand by now that playing too much into male gaze, well, audience gained on the male gaze, may eventually drag you down if you underdeliver or face the normal human process of aging. I'm feeling really goofy today. I don't know. Maybe it's because my vacation is coming soon and I'm really overwhelmed because we are changing the plans like every damn minute, and I can't help myself and focus. And I'm going to wear my cute skirt. I have a blue skirt and I have blue lace capris, so planning outfits. I feel like we have to get back to Sydney Sweeney, and we'll have a little time to chat at the end. I'm not worried about Sydney Sweeney. She has a working brain and loves her career. We saw it with Anyone But You. She produced it and she was all over the place with marketing. She was still in a relationship with Jonathan Davino, and her co-star Glenn was in a relationship too. Sydney herself played into the rumors about Glenn. She was always on the phone with PR team, suggesting ideas to sparkle talk. Glenn's ex reportedly felt the PR romance hurt their real relationship. And I mean, it's harsh. So I saw her saying on a podcast that she was like not allowed to come on set, and she was a bit like jealous, and it was way too hard for her to handle. I think we'll see Sydney produce more films. She's also starring in the new season of Euphoria and in Eden. So how do you feel about her? I honestly try to stay in the narrator position when I talk about real living people, you know. I wouldn't say that I'm a fan. I'm definitely not a fan. Like, if you ask me about Hailey Bieber or like Alex Cooper, I would say I'm a huge fan of those. I also would say that I like Nara Smith, but she is kind of scaring me right now. Nara Smith, babe, if you like need something, I hope you know like signal. Because you are scaring me, babe. Maybe she is a Mormon, or maybe she's going to become a Mormon. I feel like she's going to become a Mormon. But about Sydney Sweeney, I don't really have strong opinions. Like, I'm not obsessed with her, but I don't really hate her. I'm really intrigued to read what you think. While we're on the topic of series and films, I want to talk about Harry Potter HBO Reboot. Like, did we really need this another reboot? I don't know, I love the original and the story, and I'm pretty much sure I can't be called a Harry Potter fan because I have never ever read a single Harry Potter book. Which is crazy because I read so many fanfics about Harry Potter, and I'm genuinely okay with reading. You know, there are some people who like hate reading, and I've never ever read a Harry Potter book, which is crazy. I don't know why, by the way. I just kind of never thought about this. Anyway, back to Reboot. Do we really need this? I'm asking you right now. We also have And Just Like That. I don't really know if we can call this reboot. By the way, did you know that the show was cancelled? I am kind of happy about this because God, this needed to end. Like, this is too much. I can't invest myself in this. Also, I'm having like my next special about Sex and the City, and the fact that the whole universe is finally ended. I will have a video dedicated to the whole series, films, and Just Like That, and it's going to be all. And maybe Harry Potter reboot is why And Just Like That eventually wrapped up too. I mean, the production of Harry Potter must cost a ton, and maybe HBO wants to invest in Harry Potter instead of Sex and the City. You know, it's really hard to get Harry Potter vibes from anything but Harry Potter universe, magic and wizarding world. I'm pretty much sure it costs lots of money. I really love the vibes. I have rewatched it like way too many times for an adult, and I would love a great series, but I'm not sure if they can deliver. Like, I'm really scared about the vibes in general. And well, I have a confession to make. It's a bit creepy one, you know. I've kind of hinted that already, but I am a huge Dramion fan. I'm pretty much sure I've read like every possible alternative ending to the Harry Potter universe where Draco and Hermione are getting together, and I loved almost every single one of them. Like, producers, please take notes. Please read some of these works. I'm not sure if I'm going to include some of my favorites. Maybe I will include the ones that are kind of suitable for general public, I will say. I don't know, but I have an obsession. I want so much the reboot to let me have Draco and Hermione together. I know I'm not the only one. And we need a Dramion storyline in the reboot. Please, if you are from HBO or if you know someone from HBO, you can pitch this idea and we all can get Dramion storylines. I'm going to reread one of my favorites on my way to Greece. You know, I can't help it. I love it. Also, I love them because they have... I'm really trying to validate myself right now with this, but Draco and Hermione are so cool to follow because they're both in the center of everything. Through Hermione, we get to see the resistance side. Draco's family is tied to everything. Bellatrix is his aunt, Voldemort supposedly stayed at their house. Sirius is his cousin, his father was close to Voldemort. How poetic it would be if Draco fell in love with Hermione and became a spy for the good side. He'd have every reason to, especially if they show later how fucked up his life became when Bellatrix got out of jail, when Voldemort came back, when his dad was sent to prison. They could show how Voldemort assigned him to kill Dumbledore and how they trained him, and Draco is actually the youngest Death Eater. I'm praying to God that they are going to make everyone a little bit older from the start, like maybe 13, so that by the last season they are age appropriate to have some action happening. Also, I really want the war to be portrayed like more realistically, darker. I want to see the resistance. I want to see Death Eaters, like little bad things happening to the ordinary people. I want the main trio witness how bad everyone feels under Voldemort. By the way, can we have a normal Ron? I don't have anything against like the actor who played Ron in the original films, but well, Ron wasn't that stupid. He was complex. He was a character. He was a person. So it's coming so strange for someone who have read 0 Harry Potter books. But I really read like lots of fanfics, as I've said. And I understand that Ron can be portrayed more interesting and more complex and more human, as well as Ginny. Ginny is so bad in the original. I've never realized how like boring she is. She wasn't giving me much, and when I started reading all of those fanfics, I realized that Ginny is such a cool girl. She can be really interesting. She has fire. She's incredibly beautiful. She's interesting character, and we don't see that in the films. Also give space to secondary characters, and I'm pretty much sure that this thing Reboot is going to nail. They have more time, obviously. I'm low-key obsessed with the Slytherin and Ravenclaw houses. So I guess you can see that despite being skeptical, I'm waiting for the reboot. They have already started filming, and we have some leaks from the set. I read that they're hoping not to use as much CGI as the films did. I really hope they're gonna manage to keep the magical world vibe. Also, I really love the actors that are casted. To me, they seem like a great fit. Loved the actress for Ginny, and the whole Weasley family is actually greatly casted. And I'm going to name you the actors who are already confirmed. Harry Potter is played by Dominic McLaughlin. Hermione Granger is played by Arabella Stanton. Ron Weasley is played by Alistair Stout. Dumbledore is played by John Lingwan. McGonagall is played by Jeanette McTeer. Snape is played by Papa Esidu. Hagrid is played by Nick Frost. Quirrell is played by Luke Talon. Flitch is played by Paul Whitehouse. Molly Weasley is played by Catherine Parkinson. Lucius Malfoy is played by Johnny Flynn. Petunia Dursley is played by Belle Powley. Vernon Dursley is played by Daniel Rigby. Draco Malfoy is played by Locke Spratt. And Neville is played by Rory Wilmore. So if you're a huge Hermione fan like I am, let me bring you back to Earth, because well, Hermione is probably not happening, you guys. I'm so sorry, but it's probably not really happening for us. Yeah, it sucks, I know. HBO is adapting the books into a live-action series, 1 season per book, over 7 seasons across a decade. HBO really wanted to be book accurate. The premiere is expected in early 2027. The production is actually already one of the most expensive series ever. I read that they've already spent like $4.2 billion. They're even building a massive Potterville set, which suggests long-term plans for the universe. I'm kind of excited and begging for Draco and Hermione being together, please. Well guys, let's get into the next topic because I can ramble about these two for way too long. As always, I want to finish with my personal touch, and today that's journaling. So I recently bought a journal and I actually have it. I just realized that we are going to have one more regular episode before our Sex and the City special. You've probably seen all those videos about how journaling is great for your brain and your mental state. So I decided I need to try it. I used to journal before when I was in my teens, and I used journaling just as a way to cope with myself. I'm quite a reserved person, and I kind of used to write my thoughts to just live through emotions. And now I do it internally, or I just talk to people. Sometimes it's better to address the persons, and sometimes it's like an internal thing going on. I've learned how to cope with me and people around me, and I don't really know what to write. I mean, I'm happy I'm not on emotional roller coaster I was on when I was a teen, but I don't know what to write. And you know what? I'm confused because I feel bad for wasting the paper, but also I feel bad for using my phone all the time because I want my eyes to rest. Actually, I've just remembered I once got offered to promote planners. I backed off. It doesn't feel comfortable to carry a planner and cross out or change things on paper. Where is flexibility? I want my plans to be able to change if needed. Also, I struggle to write because when exciting things happen, I'm too happy in the moment, and usually my weekdays are mostly work and home. I actually posted about this on Insta and I got the cutest suggestion to write things I'm thankful for, and it feels more special when it's handwritten. I have the whole script and I can't make myself follow it. I don't know if I cut the other parts when I address this to you, but I really can't process anything. I don't know, I really can't make it with a scenario. So I have points I wanted to mention. I used to journal when I was a teen. I had 10 full journals, and they were all filled with self-loves, just emotional roller coasters. I barely could find anything positive in those journals, so I threw them away. And I don't really regret this. I don't know why, but I really don't. I remember before I threw them away, I wrote a little nice positive note on the last page of every diary. I really didn't want to store something that negative, and it was taking a lot of space. And it actually felt so great. When I read these diaries, I realized how far I am from that time period and that image of myself. I truly hated myself. I can't put it in any other words. I hated myself so much. I hated my looks, my character, my life, everything around me. I just hated it. And I was filled with so many sad, traumatizing circumstances. I was so happy to see that I don't feel this way about myself anymore. I feel so much more comfortable in my own body. I feel so much more confident in myself. By the way, the summer is already over. The summer is already over for you. It's going to be over for me in a week, because I'm filming before I'm posting, obviously. And it's the first day of fall. And by the way, while you're watching this, I'm already on my way to Greece. I'm also gonna visit another European city, and it was a last minute plan decision, but it's a good one, I'm planning my outfits now. I hope you've had your great vacations this summer. For me, summer was kind of strange. It wasn't as warm as I expected. Well, I'm lying to you. Summer was actually great. I started my podcast this summer, and I reconnected with two of my besties this summer. So despite the summer being kind of cold, the summer was great. And I'm going to Greece, and then I'm going to Vienna. I am totally ready to transition to fall. My birthday is next month. So happy. Now I feel like I'm going to kind of stop this episode. Also, please share with me, do you journal? What kind of things you write in? So guys, storage on my phone was full. Thank you so much for letting me ramble about all things living rent-free in my head. I'm going to see you next Monday. Love you. Bye.